A vacation, a sunset, a seemingly kind stranger. It sounds like the start of a perfect memory, right? But for one family, it was the beginning of an absolute nightmare. A nightmare that ended right here. So today, we're going to peel back that sunny Florida facade, and what we're going to find underneath is a story of pure evil that was just hiding in plain sight. This is the absolutely chilling case of the Sunset Murders and the hunt for the monster responsible, Oba Chandler. Before we dive in, I have to say something. The stories we talk about here, they're so much more than just cases. They're about real people, real families whose lives were turned upside down. If you believe, like I do, that these stories deserve to be told and the victims deserve to be remembered, please just take a second and hit that subscribe button. It really means you're part of a community that cares about keeping these memories alive. And for that, thank you. All right, let's go back. The date is June 4th, 1989. Picture it. Boaters are out, they're enjoying the sunshine on Tampa Bay, and then their day takes this absolutely horrific turn. They stumbled upon a scene so gruesome it would literally haunt the state for years. And the details of what they found, they're just horrifying. These victims weren't just discarded. No, they were meticulously prepared for a watery grave, bound with ropes, duct tape, and weighed down with concrete blocks. For an entire week, they were just Jane Does, their identities a total mystery. That is, until a heartbroken husband and father back in Ohio, a man named Hal Rogers, reported his family missing. So to really understand the true weight of this tragedy, we have to go back to the beginning. Because this wasn't just any vacation. For the Rogers family, this trip to Florida, it was supposed to be a beacon of hope. First, let's meet Joan Rogers. She was 36, a mother who was desperately trying to heal her family, to give her daughters a fresh start, a way to get away from a really painful memory back home. And this was her oldest daughter, Michelle, just 17 years old, and she'd already been forced to endure so much more than anyone her age ever should. This trip, it was really for her. And then there was Christy, the youngest, at 14. Just an innocent girl on what was supposed to be a family trip to the most magical place on Earth. See, you really have to understand this part. Their journey to Florida, it was so much more than just a getaway. They had just gone through this absolutely terrible ordeal involving another family member, and this vacation was supposed to be their chance to escape all that trauma, to rebuild. The tragic irony of it all, it's almost unbearable to think about. So after Disney, the plan was simple. They should have been heading north, back home to Ohio. But a simple, innocent mistake, a single wrong turn, sent them west, straight into Tampa, and directly into the path of a predator. And this is where the deception began. They met a man, Oba Chandler, who seemed like the perfect, helpful local guy. Charming, talkative, and he used this devastatingly effective lie. He told them he was also from Ohio. And in that one moment, he wasn't a stranger anymore. He was one of them. He was building this bridge of trust that he fully intended to burn to the ground. From there, his trap was set. He makes them this offer they just can't refuse, a sunset boat ride out on the bay. He even gives them handwritten directions to a dock. So later that night, after they watch the sunset from their hotel, they follow those directions. They trusted him. And that boat ride, the one offered with a smile, it became their tomb. He bound them, tied them to concrete blocks, and threw them into the bay, alive. So after the bodies were discovered, the case just went ice cold. The police had nothing. The killer was a ghost. And the family, they were just left with no answers, only this unimaginable pain. For 3 long, agonizing years. Can you even imagine that? 3 years of just complete silence. 3 years with a killer just walking free. And 3 years of a family waiting for a justice that must have felt like it was never, ever going to come. So that was the big question for investigators, right? How in the world do you find a ghost? A man who can charm his way into a family's car, commit an act this unspeakable, and then just vanish without a trace? Well, the answer came from 2 totally unexpected breakthroughs. Okay, so first, a Canadian tourist comes forward. She says that just weeks before the Rogers murders, Chandler had tried the exact same sunset cruise trick on her. The only reason she survived, her friend was waiting at the dock. This gave police a description, which was huge. But the second breakthrough? This was pure genius. Remember those handwritten directions he gave the family? The police took a sample of that really unique cursive handwriting, and they put it on billboards all across Florida, just asking one simple question: do you know this writing? And believe it or not, someone did. A tip came in, matching the writing to a work order signed by a man named Oba Chandler. And just like that, the ghost had a name. On September 24th, 1992, Oba Chandler was arrested. And that long, long road to justice finally reached its destination, the courtroom. And the evidence against him, wow, it just stacked up piece by piece, creating this absolutely airtight case. First, they had his palm print, a perfect match on that brochure he'd written on, left right in the Rogers car. Of course, they had the handwriting match from the billboards. They had the chilling testimony from the survivor, which proved his whole method. And then came the final devastating blow, and it came from his own family. Can you picture this? In court, his own daughter takes the stand, and she testifies that her father had once confessed to her that he had killed 3 women. I mean, can you imagine the power of that moment in the courtroom? That smirk was finally wiped off Chandler's face as his own child sealed his fate. So in the end, justice was served. Chandler was convicted back in 1994 and sentenced to death. He spent 22 years on death row before he was finally executed in 2011. But here's the thing. Even after his death, the true extent of his evil was still being unmasked. In 2014, DNA posthumously linked him to the 1990 murder of a newlywed woman. It confirmed what everyone had feared all along. He wasn't just a triple murderer. He was a serial killer. You know, looking back at this entire case, it's just so hard to shake the chilling randomness of it all. This is one of those stories that truly gets under your skin. For me, this is the part that haunts me the most. A single wrong turn. One chance encounter with the absolute wrong person at the wrong time. It's just a terrifying reminder of how fragile life can be and how quickly a predator can just shatter the hopes of an entire family who was just looking for a fresh start. Joan, Michelle, and Christy, they deserved so much more. Okay, I know this case is incredibly heavy and it brings up a lot of emotions, so I'd really like to hear what you think. What part of this story stands out to you the most? If you found this explainer valuable, it would mean a lot if you'd hit that like button. And please share your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And finally, thank you. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this community where we treat these stories with the seriousness they absolutely deserve. Your voice, your thoughts, they really matter here. Please, if you haven't already, remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because there's always another story waiting to be told, another victim waiting to be remembered. We'll see you for the next one.